Get lit.
Well, wish. But it's far too early in the day to get lit.
Yeah, no, that's not that's not what I meant. But alrighty.
Well, you know, said get lit.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We're live. Welcome back.
Yep. It is that time again. If you didn't catch the launch last night, we are back. Back with more. Pretty much.
Back. We are back, yes.
We
I
are.
was going to talk a little about that. Yeah, it's cool. Did you see you can track the crew capsule live on the interwebs?
I did not. That sounds cool, though. I'd like. Yeah, I guess I gotta.
Actually put the link down below, people.
Oh.
Down below.
So you people could have some fun tracking stuff. That's cool.
Right. Track away.
All right. That's cool. All right. You know what? I have chat running. I have everything up. Everything's good. Roscoe's actually sitting on the couch, but you can't see him. But I'm going to say I'm in such a good mood. I'm going to say 20 seconds today because 20
You're going to say chat? Chat's up?
Chat is up.
Not even 10?
Now I'm going to say 10 seconds.
Okay.
5, 4, 3. Hey, everybody, welcome. Not Your Average Show. Corey and Mike. It is Thursday afternoon. What is it? September 16th, 2021.
Definitely September.
Definitely September. Yeah. Sounds like arraignment. Definitely September. Yes. It is September, and we are back from last night's what I'm going to call successful rocket launch coverage of Inspiration4. So if you guys haven't had a chance, go out there, check out the small snippet of the video that we did of the live stream event, which actually has some of the pulses of the atmospheric pulses or plumes from last night's coverage that we had. How are you today, Corey?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, just my 2 cents too. Yeah, the launch was really great. People I know watched it from here, and actually some people went outside in various places in Central Florida in the area, and they could see it pretty well over there too. Over there too. So it was pretty clear. Actually, I had somebody tell me they could hear it from Orlando, which is really cool.
Really?
Not always a thing, but
no.
Maybe the conditions were just perfect, and they could hear it. So, and yeah, those pulses. If you are actually wondering a little bit more, so obviously you could see in the video if you watched our other video that after stage 1 separates the booster, the Falcon 9 booster, it, as you know, turns around and comes back down and lands. So those are actually maneuvering thrusters that you can see, and just the way that the light from the main rocket is, and where the sun is, and everything, you can see those lit up really nice, and it's cool.
That was cool.
And yeah, just lastly there too, yeah, they're still up there. It's a 3-day mission in total. Like I mentioned, down below there's a link to the SpaceX website. You can click that and see right now is a graphic showing you where the capsule's at. So
okay, you know what I'm gonna have to do now, because you've mentioned it, so you said it's in the description. Okay, so let's just give people give people an idea of what it looks like there. So this is basically what the situation is. You have their website, and you have the mission Inspiration4. You have the actual launch, and then
it's SpaceX, because it's not on the Inspiration. It's on the SpaceX website.
Yeah, I'm on the SpaceX website. Okay. And then which section do we go there? We go to
click watch. Click watch.
Watch. I see rewatch. I don't see watch. Oh, there it is.
Well, there it is, right there. That's
there it is. Follow Dragon.
Animated globe there. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're coming up, I guess, on the down under down there. They're over that side of the world.
They come from the window. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You can click it and move it around.
It's cool. That's pretty neat. So yeah, that's in the link in the description below. So check it out. Some additional coverage there for you. Okay, so we got a bunch of things to talk about today, and so without any further ado, let's just give you some of the rundown of what we're going to be talking about, which is Northrop Grumman and Leonardo are teaming up for building some sort of craft, which Corey is going to talk about. And it looks like Rivian and their truck is actually the first one is rolling out off of the production line today or yesterday, and it's going to customers. So there's some competitive elements there between what's going on between Cybertruck and the Ford F-150 Lightning, and also the EV Hummer. So it looks like they're actually going to be one of the first ones out in the marketplace, which is kind of cool. Also, Lucid Air goes up to the EPA and their system of seeing what range is, and they come out at 520 miles of range, which is kind of cool. 520. And not to be outdone with our total EV coverage today, New York State signs into quote-unquote law a new bill that says that they're going to be 100% EV vehicles on the road for sale by the year 2035. We're going to talk about that one real quick as well. Hey, that's what we got, these topics and discussions for today. So if you guys remember, go ahead and join the conversation at your will, and we will enjoy speaking with you on what we can about what we have on the plate for today. There's that. Okay, so Mr. Young, you, sir, drew the short straw.
Sure.
And you get to talk about, wait a second, guess what? You can't talk about anything yet because hold on.
What happened?
I lost.
What'd you do?
I didn't do it on
What
purpose.
happened?
Didn't do it on purpose. What ended up happening was the go live setup just nuked the link to whatchamacallit, the Northrop Grumman article. So I just got to bring that up.
Oh, right on.
So that just disappeared.
Sure. We can stand by a second.
Yeah, we don't really have a choice because you didn't have any content.
Well, I know, but we don't want to cut it up with me talking and nothing to see. So I'll wait a second.
All right. So now that is up, ready to go, and I'm going to hand the floor off to Corey so you can talk to you from this article about Vertical Magazine.
I will take that floor from you, and yes. So this first one coming from you from Vertical Magazine. Vertical Magazine is a pretty good source to cover all things actually rotorcraft, but this one actually has to do with, as it says, Leonardo and Northrop Grumman join forces on future rotorcraft UAS opportunities. So Leonardo, they are a big helicopter company over in the UK, over in Europe rather, not the UK, but over in Europe. And of course, you guys know about Northrop Grumman. So basically, what this is talking about is they are pairing up, and this is not their first collab. They've been actually doing some collaborations since 1995, but they're pairing up again for some VTOL things and some UAS systems. And so basically, it doesn't exactly say what they're specifically going to be doing, but it mentions that this is certainly a partnership that's, again, not really new. They've been working together for a while, but this is something they're going to certainly pursue now, especially as we can certainly tell, with all the high-speed VTOL competition and all the other things that are going on, whether it's civilian or military, that this is a thing that's going to happen. The VTOLs, whether they are eVTOLs or just high-speed VTOLs conventionally powered, it's definitely something that companies, especially defense companies, are going to be wanting to be in on. So that's what this is basically saying. And Leonardo is a good place for Northrop to kind of be going with this. Obviously, Leonardo does, as we mentioned, rotorcraft, but they also have already been doing some unmanned systems, complete systems with sensors and ground control systems and things already. They already offer some of those things, and so it's kind of in their wheelhouse already. So the Northrop can bring a bit more of that. But I do, again, and I told Mike right before we went live here, I was like, I can't help but read the headline and then read this article and say, okay, Northrop's pairing with Leonardo. Okay, they do helicopters. We know some of the things they do. Okay, who else is paired with Northrop?
Well, we have friends.
I just can't ignore it. But and I know we talk about this quite often on the channel, but it's something that just, again, here we go, just happens to be, connecting the dots. JetUpTerra is also working with Northrop Grumman on, as we know, the high-speed VTOL project for Air Force Works. So, is it related? I don't know. I'm not going to say. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. Ooh, could be.
No,
right?
I don't.
But obviously, right, Northrop, they want to leverage the technology wherever it might be best suited, right? Their business, of course, and the base of it. So, maybe JetUpTerra brings some of the IP and. Whether going to scale manufacturing, maybe that's where or proven ways to do stuff. Maybe that's where Leonardo comes in. Of course, Leonardo, as I mentioned, is in Europe. So
yep.
Is there a geographical thing happening here too? I don't know. So I don't know. But Mike, what do you think?
Well, look, Leonardo's known for having some excellent helicopters in the industry. They're also working on the AW609, which is their entry into the tilt rotor commercial rotorcraft, basically the Osprey of the commercial rotorcraft world.
Been a while. But
it's been a while because they did have some setbacks a few years back where they lost one of the prototypes, and with that, it's kind of interesting to see them jump into the fray of this UAS situation, right? Because honestly, if there's a company out there that has the two forces that I say that could join together to do this type of thing, it is Leonardo and it is Northrop Grumman to build this type of particular aircraft. And that is specifically because these guys have, they have their hands. And if you just want to go in and take a look, at their solutions, right, on their website, these guys have a whole array of products that are very similar to the vertical alignment of what Northrop Grumman brings to the equation. Okay, they do have military products. They do have their fingers in a lot of it, the Eurofighter, the Typhoon. Okay, they do have themselves in a lot of the different interior components, like all the actual avionics and equipment that's necessary. So for these two to be paired
Sensors
together,
and whatnot,
yeah, they're like, and they've done work together before on an advanced infrared sensor. So investment wise, strategically wise, these two companies coming together, it's almost like a, hey, what took you so long? But the other part of it is they now become probably outside of these SPAC companies and everyone else that's jumping in the hoops of UASs and potential urban air mobility aircraft. They immediately become a joint front of being a possible industry leader overnight, because we don't know what they have behind their archives and their designs, and because they have a lot of experience. And lastly, who knows what those other mystery partners could be that we just spoke about, like Jet of Terra. If they're bringing their technology into this whole fold, well, bar none, you have another entry into this marketplace that should be probably feared, not even just overlooked. You should probably think of them as probably being a dominant force in the not too distant future. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think with this though, knowing what Leonardo does in terms of where Northrop fits as well, I think this lends a little more credence to say that we would see a whatever this partnership's going to produce would be a military application. And then if that technology is there's an analog that goes to the civilian market, sure, or maybe it's just the technology itself that gets pulled out and applied to a different platform for civilian market application.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I mean, obviously this is something we'll keep track of as we keep track of a bunch of stuff, but I don't know, that's my feeling that I think if we find more information about this, it's going to be kind of like government projects, or military projects rather,
for sure. And let's not, up on the screen right now I have the AW family, which is basically the AW109, the AW09, the AW119. They have integrated a lot of different helicopters, and they, outside of probably Airbus, which used to be the old Eurocopter, these guys have been hammering the actual new and advanced helicopter market with larger, medium, and light twins for a good long while now. And probably one of the ones on my list that I still haven't flown, but I'd like to fly, is the 109. So, but hey, they have the pedigree. So these guys, yeah, like you said, look forward to something interesting coming out of this stable. Who knows what it's going to be? Curious though, curious.
Right,
and I do agree with you. It's probably coming slightly from that military route to the commercial market, and we'll see something probably in the not too distant future.
And that's not surprising to us either, as we talk about this kind of thing. That's not surprising. It's just just kind of what we see.
What we see. And so why don't we go ahead and tell the people at home what they're seeing.
So yeah, if you're done with that, so again, thanks so much for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe on this. If you like the subject and this kind of stuff here. Obviously, we mentioned we do launches too. We just talked about that a little bit ago. So live rocket launches from a location we have available to us on the east coast of Florida. So any launches over there on Cape Canaveral, we try to go over and do that cool stuff too.
Yeah.
If you're up to keep track of all the things, whether it's space, games, cars, obviously drones and eVTOLs and all that, please like, share, subscribe. Let anybody else know that you might also enjoy it. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody. Okay. So this next article comes to you from CNN Business, and basically the laydown on this one is pretty simple. The reason why it caught my eye this morning is basically they come out and they say from CNN Business, Rivian beats Tesla, GM, Ford to build their first electric pickup truck. Unfortunately, the first thing that I noticed is that in the actual beginning of the article is not a truck, that's their SUV. So they might have done a little bit more homework on that one, but they did actually get some other things down here in this article correct. And who is Rivian? Well, they are the startup truck company that's building the R1T pickup. And as you know, this is a hotly contested market right now, with Cybertruck making an impressive entry in the PR stance about a year and a half ago, expressing that they're going to jump into the marketplace, and the Ford F-150 Lightning, and a bunch of others that are willing to take over this space as fast as possible, being that the #1 selling vehicles in the United States of America currently are, well, trucks.
trucks.
So what's interestingly enough is they're basically saying that Rivian has already produced all their pre-production vehicles. They've already gone through all the hoops that are necessary on the government side to prove that their vehicles are safe and able to be on the road. And on top of which, there's other investors like Ford, Amazon, and others that are backing part of their investment. Okay, so they're bringing their trucks forward, but they're about ready to start their deliveries. Okay, and the Rivian is priced at a healthy $73,000. And they've already sold out of their launch edition trucks, according to the article, and they're now taking orders for January 2022. Okay, it's a nice looking vehicle. However, there's a little bit of a caveat here. They will be the first one probably to deliver a truck to their customer. That is true. But not to be outdone though. At the same day, and this one comes to you via Axios. Basically, what's ending up happening is Axios is saying that demand for the Ford F-150 Lightning has also forced Ford to step up their hiring practices right now and put more people on the line to develop their pre-production vehicles for testing for the Ford F-150 Lightning. Okay, and Ford has got over 150,000 pre-orders, and this is big money for these companies. This is not a small marketplace. We all knew that this was coming. We've been following this for a while now in parts of our conversation. But now all of a sudden, the Ford F-150 Lightning, which starts at a much lower price with a smaller range, apparently, they're all of a sudden in the conversation for getting their production up and running, all threatening at the same time Cybertruck and their dominance in pre-orders. So that's where we stand today. And man, what are you thinking? What are you thinking this means for the marketplace?
I mean, first off, yeah, it's nice to see Rivian's actually.
Is Rivian or Rivian? I can't. I'm saying it wrong again.
I hope it's.
Yeah, there you go.
We're saying it right, Rivian. I'm not sure. But I have been following this company for a while, and now that they're actually got models rolling off the line and going to customers, it is really nice to see. A quick search around the internet for maybe some videos, and you can see other people have tested it, and it looks like a nice package. And a lot of the comments kind of say that even the initial test models are almost like customer ready. They don't seem like a whole lot more iteration needs to be done on these. They're pretty much ready to go. So in terms of quality and ride and and all that stuff. So it's nice to see. Yeah, you mentioned that it's starting at 73. That's the initial release. And that one is called the launch edition. Yeah, it was 73,000. All those are reserved and all taken for. And there's a few other models, but there is, as you mentioned, the other one's coming January 2022, and that's 67.5, so a little bit cheaper, a little bit different options, of course. Just three main things there, but there's some cool stuff in there that talk about some of the standard stuff. For example, all of the models, the three models, will have the same pack. 314 miles of range is what they're claiming.
Nice.
They do claim that it can tow stuff too as well. I mean,
we know electric
pounds, motors. What's that?
Up to 11,000 pounds is what their website is saying.
Yeah, we do know that you can get a pretty good amount of torque out of electric motors, and this is no exception here as well. As we mentioned before, depending on what you use these EVs, any EVs for, right, that's going to have a hit on range. So that should be kind of almost self-explanatory by now. Even if it's airplanes or whatever it might be, anything with electricity or any kind of engine, actually, for that matter. But how you use it determines how much fuel or electricity you use. But nevertheless, 314 miles of range on all the models, which is pretty cool. I didn't see on there that they would be like the same battery pack as, let's say, Tesla's done in the past, but you wouldn't be able to access all of those miles, which is maybe something that some people don't know. I mean, there was a time when you buy Teslas and it had the longer range pack, but then you couldn't use all that unless you bought the upgrade, which is just a software update. I haven't seen such a thing with the Rivian model, so that's nice. As far as I can see, they have a system very similar to autopilot with some radar sensors, ultrasonic sensors around the vehicle. So it looks nice, and man, it would be cool to test drive one. I'm interested. Of course, I'm still interested in seeing the Cybertruck too, but this looks nice. I mean, yeah,
pretty cool. I was playing some video in the background while you were talking there for a minute, and that was them, trekking this thing across different various terrains. Now, look, we took a lot of flack in a couple of comments a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, when we talked about Lordstown Motors, which was another truck entry, which has suffered some critical setbacks because two of their primary members of their development team, actually the CEO of the company, walked off and basically said, we're done with this. and it has spooked investors. But we also have Canoe, whatever it is. These guys all have these fancy names. They're looking to make their entry into the marketplace as well. So there's a bunch of factors, I think, right now that you have to look at what's going to differentiate yourself in this market, right? They do have, like you said, the goods on this. And I also know that some of their models also are really, really good adventurers, because they've packed in things like, I think it's grills, right? And different storage compartments behind the seats. Didn't they have like a model that's like an adventurer where they can slide different modules in and out? And like, I think it's called the gear tunnel. Yeah. This gear tunnel that they talk about can be outfitted with actual camping gear. And it comes with either a camp kitchen that can slide out, and this some other adventure gear that they're saying can be adapted. So this thing looks like it's the true kind of, if it's the EV that's going to go head almost up against a Jeep and a pickup truck at the same time, this is the one that looks like it's got the legs, because they put a little bit more thought of it than you're just saying, hey, we're going to have a truck body, electric components, and throw this thing out there in the marketplace. It seems a little bit more Kickstarter-esque and thoroughly thought of as an adventure truck or something that's going to go forward in the market.
Yep. It's a little bit smaller than you would think. Probably things like, a full-size Ram or some of the bigger trucks that are on the market now. So we have to think, like when you talked about the Ford Lightning earlier, like size differences. But as far as like just what you said, like kind of a Jeep or like a smaller truck, this is like, it seems really well thought out. And I do like some of these features, just in terms of, if you're going to take this thing kind of like on an adventure, you're going to go somewhere, camp out. You can see that a lot of and this is just me talking, but a lot of the people they have in their pictures are,
oh yeah,
a little bit younger, maybe. So
a little bit more adventure based,
outdoorsy types. So I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it should be pretty cool.
Well, we wish them luck. And look, so the next part of it is going to be who's going to really make the bigger impact, right? Now, are these guys going to drive home their truck experience enough that they're going to dominate the marketplace, that they're going to be able to get enough of them on the road? Because there's three major disadvantages that they currently don't have. Number one, they do not have a dealership. So like they don't have any way to go out and see these trucks in the open. There's no dealerships. So they have to launch a PR campaign to try to keep people involved and try to bring these trucks out into the public so people can get a hold of them and get that basic tactile feel of touched sense feel. So put it in their hands and maybe they'll buy it. So that's number one. Number two, they don't have a name brand, right? This isn't a Tesla. This isn't a Ford. This isn't a Hummer. This isn't a branding, situation where everybody knows what these guys are up to and it can associate that name to a brand. So that's another negative that's going forward with them. And number three is they also don't have any infrastructure. So they don't have any charging stations. They're going to have to go off the other backbones of others that are out there right now. So those are the only three negatives right now that I can see to their entire strategy. So
it's so just two things that maybe people that might be seeing the video be interested in too. So they do say that if you buy a Rivian, you can obviously buy it on your phone or computer, could just like you could buy Teslas too. But they do also say that if after you take delivery of the vehicle, you have 7 days or 1,000 miles to return it if you so choose. Which is pretty nice. Cool for a car. We're not talking a TV or anything. We're talking a truck. And then also they do mention as you're talking about charging, that was literally what I was trying to find exactly, because I saw it earlier. But anyway, they do say you have to use other DC fast chargers that are available, but they do also say that they're installing 10,000 Rivian Waypoint chargers for 10,000 Rivian chargers. I don't know where. Yeah. And that's going to be something that if you were looking to find this out, they do have a map of where they are putting them. But this is and again, I'm very Tesla-esque, but maybe that's what it's going to take, because we've talked about before. One of the things, and you can't deny, but one of the things that really made Tesla work is the charging infrastructure. Yeah, and that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, if people can't charge or they have the anxiety that they may run out of battery, even if they actually wouldn't, that's enough. People wouldn't buy it. So
and the key word there is installing. They're still installing, and that's another thing that's going to take some work for them to build up that relationship. And I only bring up those factors because actually this truck I have a little bit of faith in, because if they're able to get to the point now where they can successfully deliver something to a customer, great, because that's where we need to be there. And I can't stress that enough, that competition is good, but you got to be able to survive, right? So Hey,
it's definitely
folks.
something to watch. They got all the components. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how they get going. All right. Thanks for watching. And if you guys get a chance, like, subscribe, follow. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Who you think is going to be the most successful truck in the marketplace. As these EVs grow, who knows? I mean, any one of them has a place to grow to become a market dominant leader. So let's see what happens with them going forward. Okay. Next up is you. And I think you're going to talk to us a little bit about some of those folks over there at what is it, Lucid, correct?
Lucid.
All right,
yes.
let me get something keyed up here, because I just wanted the actual website up again, because for some reason they crashed a little bit here. So okay, are you ready, sir?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, you are ready and you are on the clock, as they say.
Amazing. This one is coming. So next article is coming to you from The Verge, and it's talking about the new Lucid Air. And the article says Lucid Air is the first electric car with a 520-mile EPA-rated range. Footnote there, that's 100 miles more than the Model S Long Range Plus currently, as of right now. But and so if you guys are not familiar with Lucid, we've been, it's, again, one of the manufacturers we've been kind of keeping track of. A number of years ago, their CEO, Peter Rawlinson, who actually led some of the development of Model S back at Tesla, so that's pretty interesting. He also said when he left and started this company that his models would eventually outpace some of the components of the things that Tesla was doing. And at least as far as range here, and in a way, price, I could say, range and price too, yes, is going that way. So, but yeah, so to be specific, the Lucid company, they've got a few different designs there, or a few different models. And if you just go, you might bring it up there too, but there's four models. The Air Dream Edition, the Air Grand Touring Edition, Air Touring Edition, and then the Air Pure Edition. And so this is some of their names. There's four different ones. But this article in particular is talking about the range of the Air Dream, which actually the reservations are all taken, so it's already spoken for. But yeah, it's saying 520 miles of range. And so
right.
Thinking about it, I wanted to take, as talking to Mike too, I'm like, okay, what actually sets us apart? Is this a technological achievement, or what are we actually looking at here? So just a few quick things to think about was the Air Dream Edition is going to have a 113 kilowatt hour battery pack. And to get just apples to apples, battery pack size, the car they compared it to, the Model S Long Range Plus, has a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. And so we have 520 miles rated for the Air Dream Edition, and 405 miles or so for the Model S Long Range. And I just looked it up on Tesla's website just to get the most up to date, because you guys may know Tesla's website changes sometimes, just whenever they feel like it. And they said that, so Model S right now on Tesla's website, base purchase price, straight purchase price, 405 miles for $89,990 right now on Tesla's website. So that's that. And then the Air Dream Edition, yeah, 169,000. So it's the first edition. If you guys remember, Tesla did some really expensive stuff in the beginning too. No surprise there, but anyway. And so those four models of the Lucid, they're saying that you could get a base Lucid model, so the Air. Let me get the name up before I forget. The Air Pure, 406 miles of range, and probably and my notes. What was it? It was 2022.
Let's see. Air Pure was 480 horsepower and 406 miles of range, starting at $77,400.
77,000. Yeah. So. Yeah. So it's definitely, they've definitely come through on that.
Yeah, sure.
On their range.
Without a doubt.
What do you think, man? I mean, we've got so many other facets to electric cars, as we just kind of mentioned with other things, charging and all that. But what's your thoughts?
Look, it's almost absurd. Look, 9 years ago, when Tesla was just getting out into this marketplace, and you were just starting to think about what it was going to be like to get yourself your first electric car, and people were like, "Look, you're never really going to get the some of the performance. We really haven't figured out battery tech." And everything is slowly but surely moving along. When you look at the fact that you got a 1,111 horsepower vehicle. Granted, the price tag is pretty steep at $170,000. So early adapters beware. You're going to pay that entry level price, right? But at that level, these are gorgeous cars. There's nothing wrong with having a competitor, and it almost goes right back to where we were before. The fact that we're harping on EVs is because, look, the money that is going to have to put behind these for people to purchase them, and also the supplements that the government's going to have to throw in there to make this a market emerge. We have spoken before at length at the fact that the market really isn't there yet, that people are buying these in droves. But these are attractive pieces, right? These become
charging infrastructure, and all the money that goes along with that. I mean, this is a lot of things gonna come of this.
Sure, because you mentioned the range anxiety, and once you see a number like 520, and then you go, "Oh my gosh, I could do a whole day's trip from between, say, Florida and the Carolinas, and I finally won't even have to stop for a recharge." Okay,
Yeah.
like I'll be able to pull that trip off, and I literally won't have to stop unless I have to eat or go to the restroom. And the other part of it is, I'm sure it has some high functioning ability for automation. So maybe this might be the most relaxing drive I might have on the road in the last 25 years, right? This type of car, I see this as a threat to actual general aviation. Okay. There's a point here where this thing becomes a little bit more palatable because people all of a sudden, when they don't think about having to sit there and be on the controls or having to monitor the whole time, they could be a little bit more, lackadaisical. They're driving because the car will do a little bit more. Maybe this becomes an attractive feature for them, right? Because look, even if you go over to the Air Pure, 480 horsepower and 406 miles range is nothing to sneeze at, right?
No,
that's still phenomenal performance. So phenomenal, I think. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, what was it? What did I say? The Tesla was 89. So what's the comparable Lucid at like 90K? So they got an Air Touring at 95.
Right. So
that's 406 miles of range, which is
620 horsepower.
Which is the same as the Model S I just looked at. Effectively, it's 1 mile different, but it's the same.
See, but now you get into one other thing, though. The other problem is the Plaid, right? The Plaid is $124,000. So looking at the Plaid, $124,000, and now all of a sudden you're into supercar territory, right? And you're and you're just 6 miles short of their other model. Now the fact that here's the other part: the fact that they had someone come over from Tesla to head up this whole thing just goes to show you that they're going from a slightly different perspective, but they're aiming at the same area, right?
Electric cars can be quick.
Very, very, very quick.
And we've talked about battery technology in a while. That's something that is maturing, but needs to mature more.
Yeah.
Have the knock-on effects, not just to driving, as Mike mentioned, but also aviation, whether it's automated or uncrewed aviation delivery stuff, or wherever we're going with VTOLs or what. But yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited.
Cool stuff.
Look, and so we're actually laying this whole groundwork for this conversation. You're going to see we're laying it for the final discussion that we're going to go into. So I'm cool with this one if you want to go into the final discussion and kind of take this to its conclusion.
So we're going to keep going. You guys can hang around, but this one, this article here, if you guys like us talking about and bringing maybe some perspectives to you on EVs, gaming, cars, aviation, and obviously, as we mentioned before, rocket launches and the like of that kind of stuff too that we do cover for you live. Please like, share, subscribe down there. Very much helps us out. And let anybody else know that you think also might enjoy it. So thank you.
There you go. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to say this. Why are we getting into all this stuff at electric cars today? Obviously, it's not necessarily, anything new that we've talked about. We've talked about Lucid before. It's the fact that they did hit their numbers, right? And this final thing is kind of the conclusion of what we've talked about, the California laws and what we've seen other countries kind of put out there. But this one has finally happened for New York. And when I say that, it happens to be that, out of all things, this comes from Auto Week, and it says New York will ban sale of gasoline engine cars by 2035. Almost self-explanatory in this respect of what this means, right? So basically, the New York State has signed a law by Governor Kathy, I can't remember her last name, sets a goal of 100% new passenger cars and truck sales in the state being zero-emission vehicles by 2035. Similar to the executive order that we talked about by the California governor, Mr. Newsom over there. All right. Now, if you want to talk about the Green New Deal and so on and so forth, they're setting targets also for trucks that have to be adapted to by the model year 2045. And the EV sales in New York have only accounted for 2% in 2020. I'm going to talk about that for a minute. The other part of the article goes on to say that, well, they've gone through and they've made impeccable motions to try to include the fact that they know where they are and they know where they need to be by 2035. It says right here, the law as drafted lacks enforcement mechanisms and the concrete steps that the agencies will need in order to take it to the phase of sale of zero emission vehicles. Another fact, there's no way any state agencies could go out and get anything done that's proactive. And that's kind of the problem, because right now, this is just pretty much a really good public gesture. And before I hand it over to Corey, one of the things that I want to say is right now in New York State, if it's only 2%, if we went by the rule of 2, right? Let's say that the interest in these vehicles doubled, okay, year over year. We're still talking about almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to get people to the point where they would be buying only 100% EVs. And that means that you would go from 2% to 4% to 8% to 16%. And the very next year, 32%. Those numbers are astronomical, especially for California and New York to be pulling the same thing on both coasts. I don't think there's any way that any of those manufacturers could even get enough electric vehicles in the pipeline to quell these marks to be hit within the time frame that they're talking about. Okay, it's going to be difficult. All right, at the very least, to pull this off in what, just under 14 years. Now, let's just say if you go by gesture of, let's say you only multiply it by, maybe 0.5%. So you're talking about, what is it? We're talking about 3.5%, and we're talking about maybe 5%, and we're talking about 7.5%. Even those numbers are going to be difficult to do if California and New York are on the same page. So what do you think this will do for the marketplace? Because you're talking about East Coast, West Coast going all Green New Deal, and that's not going to leave a lot because other countries are doing the same thing. So the manufacturers, I just don't think, can keep up.
Well, I mean, I think on my end, I'll come at it from a slightly different perspective to say raw materials, right?
Right.
We're gonna go in more into this, in some future episodes too, because we want to talk about it as well. But just getting enough of the raw materials to be able to even feasibly do that, if they had everything else in line, right? If everything else was going to fall in line, can they even get that many? Let's say in this case, battery packs.
Yeah,
and we already know. There's other things that we have a bit of a shortage right now, dude, like silicone or different types of chips and things. So there's, I don't know, that's a bit of it could be a bit of a problem to do that. And just the next thing in there, James has got one thing in there in the comments too. He says, I wonder how that will affect all the taxis in New York.
Same deal.
Maybe they're gonna have a pass. Maybe not. I don't know how I don't know. I mean, what about charging? Because if you're stuck in traffic somewhere in New York and you're in an EV, okay, everything's great. But then if you need to get somewhere and charge, and if they're that all into it, are they going to have maybe charging infrastructure that is like integrated for massive amounts of cars? And then how do you direct traffic in and out of there?
Wait,
and
wait a second. This is even more ridiculous. James asked that question. I did a search. New York City electric taxis. Okay, and guess what came up? This is also from The Verge, and it says New York City votes to block new licenses for electric taxis, snubbing Revel's Tesla plans. Okay, they wanted to put a ride-hail service with 50 Model Ys into service. Now, I don't know the full background of it.
What's the date on that?
This is actually July 23rd, 2021, or June 23rd, 2021. Okay, so there's a little bit more to be said. I mean, look, politics is politics, right? So there's that, but good question, James, but even more murky answer in the fact that even the city itself, the TLC service, would turn around and say, we're gonna vote and make a step backwards in climate change, which is kind of ridiculous, right? So look, I guess my stance is you have the material stance. You're concerned about the materials being there. I'm concerned about the legislation, the infrastructure, and what it's going to take to physically produce that amount of vehicles. And the fact that they keep putting these laws out there that are basically like, hey, we're gonna trumpet that this is the change we want to make, but we're not prepared to make the change, right? So the steps that we could put into place, that we're gonna have to pass more legislation to put these bodies in place to regulate and so on and so forth. it could take years for those bodies to become up and operational and be at speed to even check that this is going on at a rate that's going to successfully hit that mark. Wishful thinking, but a lot of work to be done. Or I'm a
Yeah, I don't know.
pessimist.
We'll see. I mean, as we know, anything, people like to change their minds,
lot.
and all the rest of the people like to follow the dollar signs. So
let me ask you this. Let's say we get three-quarters of the way through this electric revolution, and just what you said is coming true, right? We're starting to see raw materials become harder and harder to get their hands on, and now they realize that if we're going to really get the raw materials to complete the electric revolution, we're going to have to use techniques and other things that are even more invasive towards the environment. What happens then?
well, I won't like to particularly defer to good old Elon, but he's got some different ideas on how he can get the raw materials out without being quite as destructive. We'll see if any of that stuff pans out. We talked about some of the patents that he's filed to get some of those processes to get the raw materials for batteries in particular. So it might take some creative thinking, and in terms, if they want to keep going that way, of course, unless they want to make addendums to the rules that say, okay, we actually can't fulfill this by 2 years from now. We're going to move it out more. We're going to move it out a few years, or we're going to say, okay, no, actually, 85% is as best we can do for now. I don't know.
Yeah, for now, answer.
Because I mean, the same old things kind of think, some of the things that other mentioned as well, like you can't go completely electric, probably. There's some things, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, mining equipment or offshore equipment or some of the things that are just inherently petrol powered.
Yeah.
Laying cable or installing batteries of the capacity you need or whatever it might be, there's just some big hurdles to some of those to make everything electric, right?
Air travel for one.
So, I mean, I don't know. There's some big hurdles still. So
here's my other concern, right? My other concern is, and I'm sure I'm going to get dogged in comments below, because when people watch this, they'll be like, how nearsighted. But the difference is, what are the things that we don't know today that we're doing in the environmental expertise of trying to get everything be electric that we don't know might be doing damage in the future to basically the climatology of the planet? Look, I'm only going to open this up for a discussion as to basically say there are many different theories as to what greenhouse gases and other climatology things is happening to the planet. Okay, which any one of them you can subscribe to. The point of it is, one of them or all of them could still all be proven or disproven at some point as we get further down the road of learning things about this planet and how it interacts, right? So I just throw that out there as a caveat of saying, I hope we don't turn around and make a decisive decision, because basically as oil burning became, the phenomenal thing in the 1920s, no one was thinking so much about, the climatology of the planet. But I'm sure there's things out there that we're still yet to learn about what other things we're doing today that could still be improved upon tomorrow, right?
Yep. I don't have anything to add to that.
Yeah, it's just it's basically one of those things that goes through my mind. It's like, hey, there's always what you don't know that you didn't know, that you're going to turn around and go one day and go, oh God, we built how many millions of electric cars and we wasted how many resources because we did it wrong, and we could have done it so much better and saved ourselves a lot of heartache, So that's that. Anyhow, let me know in the comments below what you guys think. If New York State, California, and the other countries that are stepping forward and saying that they can produce all these vehicles can do it. Let us know if you think the appetite's going to develop for the EVs, and let us know if you think the manufacturers, who will also put in similar expectations for their product lines in the not too distant future to comply with laws like this, see if they can all do it and if it can work, and what kind of investment money you think it's going to take to get us there, because I think that's more important as part of the discussion. So let us know what you think. There's that. That's all I got.
Well, we could just hope that super powerful magnet that MIT just came up with for fusion power plants will work out, and then fusion will be a thing, and we can stop talking about energy.
Which one?
We can talk about that later.
You didn't share that one. Okay, see,
it's not a part of the show.
Okay, I'm going to strike that from the conversation because you didn't even share it with me. So how was I supposed to? Which magnet was this?
I'll send you the article.
Oh, now you're going to send me the article. So James has got a comment in there. Maybe Maybe they're making these goals knowing that we won't make them, just to try and drive people to come up with new technologies for batteries and other things. Perfectly valid. I mean, that there's some weight to that. Sometimes innovation is driven by legislation and those that follow, or they don't have the opportunity, you know, to just have to make up new answers. So there you go.
There you go.
Okay. I'm good.
I'm good too.
Okay. There's that. We enjoyed sharing the launch with you guys, and that was fantastic. And we got other stuff planned in the not too distant future. But with that part said, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for the comments, James. We got stuff to look forward to from you guys. So we'll try to see if we can get some of that content together, because there's been a lot of comments on some of the other videos, that stuff that we want to explore. Corey's going to share with me some new stuff about these batteries that I don't know about.
Okay.
Clearly, I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'm sure he's going to share with me. And I look forward to the end. Well, I love it. You're like, what about this new battery? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, crickets. There was a little cricket.
It's a new magnet. Yeah. But that's
no matter what it was, there was a little cricket in the back of my head going cricket, cricket, cricket. I'm going.
Wait, I don't know that yet.
I don't have that yet. It's like I'm sitting here in the blind and I don't know what you're talking about. So, awesome. Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll check with you real soon. Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Don't pull a Corey.
Well, I mean, we're just talking about energy problems.
I know.
And just the first thing that came to mind, I had read this thing about a magnet.
You usually share that stuff with me no matter what. And this time I know you didn't.
But no, I hadn't.
Yeah, I get it.
I didn't think. Well, with our 4 things today, it wasn't really fitting anywhere in particular. So.
Right. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate your time.
Take it easy.
Take care. Thanks for the comments. We'll check you guys real soon. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.
See ya.